Hi everybody, welcome to the Posture Lab today. We got a doozy for you. It's standing head to knee pose today.
Standing head to knee pose, everyone's favorite, right?
Oh, if you could say that.
There's so many different things that you have to be aware of. That's why it's one of the most challenging postures, not only in the 26 postures that we do in a normal Bikram Yoga heel class, but any posture in the world, because it's one of the few postures in the world you're combining your mind, body, and spirit as one.
You're standing on one leg, so you have to use tremendous concentration. We're used to standing on two legs, so when you're taking off one leg, you really have to focus on your concentration powers.
So it develops a tremendous amount of balance, as well as concentration, patience. And patience is not just not doing anything. Patience is actually well defined by what you're actually doing when things are not working out for you yet. So you're always trying the right way, you're trying to improve, and through the patience, through your discipline, you'll eventually get to your end destination. And that's one of the key postures of in the series, is that it's teaching you to never, ever, ever give up. Your ultimate destination is to never give up. So no matter how many times you fall out of the postures, especially standing head to knee pose, wipe it off, turn the other cheek, and try again.
And what's totally crazy to see is you see some people that can kind of nail it within like a month or 3 months. Some people, for example, me, 10 years, I've been struggling with this posture, but that struggle has helped me build up my strength from the bottom up. So really, it's just everyone has a different trajectory with this posture. So do not rush it, enjoy it.
So one thing that you're going to learn from this is, accept this from today on, that you're going to fall out a lot. And if you know this, that you're going to fall out a lot, it's not to be unexpected. It's part of the process. It's part of the journey. It's not about reaching your destination. It's all about how you get to your destination. So you need to use 100% focus. You have to let go of everything. That's why there's a nice little break after eagle pose into standing head to knee, because it allows you to completely reset, to completely forget about the postures you've done. By now, you're about 25 minutes in the class, so hopefully you've forgotten about the outside world, and you're going to forget about what you have to do after class. Right now, you're in the present moment, and that helps tremendously. So some of the benefits of the posture also is, like, it's going to straighten your entire body. From head to toe, you're going to learn to use all of your muscle strength. Because to touch your forehead to your knee, you have to use all of your muscle strength. We kind of call that Bengal tiger strength, like a Bengal tiger, using all of your strength. The other thing is your determination to never give up. If you ever see a bulldog, you give him a towel.
There's one here on your shirt.
And the bulldog will never let go of the grip. So once you have that grip, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's the same thing. You never give up on the grip. You never give up on kicking. You never give up on locking your knee. That is your determination, your Bengal tiger strength, and your English bulldog determination. You're fierce and you never give up. And so one of the last couple of benefits is you're exercising your heart. So by doing that, you're obviously bringing blood circulation throughout to your entire body. By sucking your stomach in, you're compressing your internal organs, your abdominal organs, your reproductive organs, as well as your pancreas, your thyroid, your parathyroid, and your thymus, and you're extending your kidneys on the backside. So we'll talk about a little bit of the key techniques. One, obviously, you hear this a lot: lock your knee. Lock your knee, lock your knee. Very simple. It's either locked or it's not locked. There is no between. It is or it isn't. So that's one of the beauties of this class, is you have these mirrors and you can self-judge that, is the knee locked or is it bent? If the knee is bent, if it's a little bent, it's still not locked. There's no doubt in your mind, once you're able to lock your knee, you understand what the locked knee is. So from the side, I'll just demonstrate what the locked knee is with Eva. Because when you're standing in one spot, standing in legs, you can see that your hip, your knee, and your heel, they're all aligned. And that's what you're trying to achieve on one leg. So in the posture, if you just simply shift from your weight from one bent knee to the other bent knee, so this, your standing leg is locked, it's still hip, knee, and ankle are all in one alignment. It's still stacked. So that's what you're trying to obviously achieve, is keeping your legs stacked. So whether you're locking your knee standing on two legs like this, or if you sit down, you bring your heels forward and you're pushing the bottoms of your knees down, it's still a locked knee. And if you've never locked your knee, I suggest you sit down, try to push the bottoms of your knees into the floor, Kick your heel forward and turn your toes back, and you'll feel a cramping in your thigh muscles. And it's that same sensation that you're looking for when you're balancing on one leg. So when you're balancing on one leg, and you're trying to lift up your leg, I see a lot of legs bend. Why? Keep it straight. If you can't lock it yet, obviously this is the easiest point in the class because you're not bending down, you're not grabbing your foot. This is going to build tremendous strength and endurance, so it's allowing you to lock your knee at the very easiest position. Obviously the easiest position is when both legs are down, and that's the easiest locked knee when you're just standing. So if you just bring your leg up a little bit, it still should be locked. But now the trick is to pick up your foot and bend down, keeping your leg locked. So now it requires tremendous amount of concentration, balance, mental fortitude.
All right.
So how do you want to lock your knee? So one of the things is the key is your foot, right? So the more you can push your foot into the floor, so meaning that there's 3 different points on the foot. If you come onto the talaba, you should be able to push your big toe knuckle down. You should push the knuckle beside your pinky toe as well as the heel. If you can focus on those 3 points, a triangle effect, you're going to feel a stable locked knee. The greatest structures on earth, a pyramid, it's all based on a triangular form. So if you can think about that, pushing your foot into the floor, you'll find the most stable position for you. And if you ever twisted your ankles have a tendency to roll out. So if you're falling out of this posture, it's because most ankles roll out. So that's why you're bringing a little bit more awareness, pushing your big toe down, so it's really engaging your inner thighs. Of course, you're working your quadriceps in standing head to knee and whenever you're locking your knees, but you're also learning to use the inside of your legs, your inner thigh strength. So as Eva is pushing your foot into the floor, and as she lifts her thigh muscles up, as she lifts her kneecap up, the end result is locking your knee. So it's not jamming your knee back, not pushing your knee back, but the deeper you can go into the floor and the more you can lift your upper leg up, automatically the end result is locking your knee.
And I can talk from experience about having super loosey-goosey joints, is that I used to be able to go out quite a bit more. But now that I found so much more strength around my knee, obviously when you have strength, your muscles get tighter. So it hasn't allowed my knee to bow back, to flex out as much as it used to. But the more I contract my thigh muscle, lift my kneecaps up, this all causes the knee to be more stable, more strong, so that in the end the joint is actually incredibly protected. But yes, it takes an incredible amount of strength and concentration to maintain that, especially if you're hypermobile and able to push things back. It's all about lifting up, constantly up, engaging the muscles around the joint.
And so the technique to picking up your foot is important as well, because that's going to allow you to find proper form for your body, for your alignment, to allow you to do this posture. So obviously the key is the focus and the key is the mantra. I had so many teachers that say, just say lock the knee, lock the knee. I was like, yeah. I think I would say it a couple times and then I would forget about it. But if you can honestly just repeat, lock your knee, 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 throughout the entire duration, you're already 2 steps closer to the people that don't actually say that mantra.
And what lock the knee is all of that stuff we just talked about before. All of that hard work. So it's not just 3 words, it's everything around the concept of locking the knee. Engaging, strengthening.
And that's why mantras are so powerful, because the more you actually think about something and say something, it eventually will achieve in the body. Because it's all building the neuromuscular connections. You think about it, and then eventually the muscles perform as you think about it. So when you're picking up your foot, I'm going to ask Evan to pick up your foot. So everybody is different. Some are bigger torso, some are bigger legs, but try to meet someplace in the middle. So you're not just picking up your leg and then bending down. You're not bending all the way down and picking up your leg here. Meet someplace in the middle. And for that, everyone is completely different. But if you try to time it that you're bringing your leg up and body down, you'll find that sweet spot for yourself. And if it ever turns to the side, so we always say pick up your foot in front of you. So that actually means picking up the front in front of you. Ideally, your heel and your knee are kind of in one line. It doesn't have to be exactly, But instead of bringing it to the body, which is very unstable here, whoa, see how easy that was for her to fall out? But if she's a little bit more forward in front of you, she finds so much more stability, and now, no earthquake, no tsunami will make her unfall, because there's so much more stability, because you're creating more space, more surface area, and that's what allows you to find more stability. The one last thing I want to talk about this right now is bring your toes up from the very beginning, because eventually your heel's going to go forwards and your toes are going back, so might as well bring your toes back right now. The last thing we're going to talk about before we move on a little bit deeper is the grip. So the grip is important. It's like 5 fingers together, like scissors, squeezing your fingers into each other. Squeezing your thumbs. If you're able to interlock your thumbs, good. If you're not able to, that's okay. You're pushing your thumbs into your index finger. And you're squeezing all 5 fingers into each other. And so the foot is just resting in that little cradle you've created. You're not pushing your foot into your hands that much. It's sitting in there. And the last part before you start kicking out is you have to use your core strength. You have to use your core strength because it's a balanced posture. And all of the balances eventually end up coming back to how well you can use your core muscles. So you're sucking your stomach in. And as she lifts up, her stomach is still tight. Her heel is kicking forward and your toes back. That same cramp sensation that you felt on the ground when I asked you to lift your heels off and push the bottoms of your knees, you're creating that same cramping sensation in your thigh. If you don't feel ouch, 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 guess what? You gotta kick harder. You have to turn your toes back more. You're gonna feel burning muscular pain, but that's what's giving you more strength and more endurance.
And let's talk reality. Adam just said to you, you've got to suck your stomach in. So if your belly is a little bit out, bigger, it's going to be a lot harder to round in and grab it if there's a lot of excess weight there. So don't expect right away to be able to grab your foot if there's a lot of belly in the way. Like we've got to be practical and realistic about this. Doesn't mean there's nothing to do for you. Quite the opposite. You still have the opportunity to lift your leg up. Still suck your stomach in here as much as possible so you're getting cramping sensation, not only in the thigh, but in your abdomen. And with that kind of workout, guess what? That belly will start disappearing. Your legs will get stronger. But if you think you're going to achieve something here with a lot of weight hanging you down, that's going to be a totally different exercise for you.
And that's why these postures like this yoga classroom, yoga, it's not just these postures, it's whole lifestyle change to make you more efficient so your body's not in pain, so you're able to move your full range of motion, right? It's just being aware of what you need to do to not only improve your postures, but improve your overall lifestyle. So one of the things that I'll say before we move on is, people that have like really back problems or really tight hips or can't grab their foot. You know what, honestly, like Emma was saying, do the best you can. It doesn't matter how you grab your foot as a beginner. Do the best you can. Ideally, you're picking up your foot straight up. If you can't pick up your foot straight up, pick up your foot any way that you can get your fingers underneath. If you're having difficulty grabbing your foot, that's okay. You're still learning to lock your knee, stomach in, bending forward, having a little curve in your spine, and then inching it every day. You can still stand here with your stomach sucked in, stomach in, leaning in a little bit, and this leg is still locked, and you're slowly getting there. If you need to take a break, take a break. And the next opportunity, I held it, for 4 seconds? Next time I'm going to try for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and eventually you'll get there. But every day it's a cumulative effect. Every yoga class you take only adds to you, adds to the postures, adds to your health, adds to your vitality. So that's why it's always cumulative. Don't ever get frustrated with what you do in one class, because you know it's always improving. 10 classes from now, that effort that you gave in those previous classes will come back and it'll add to your class.
Yeah, so just thinking practically a little bit about this too. If you're like, oh yeah, this is like never achievable, N-O, defo, no, no, no. Because this is the same thing like if you're sitting and you're grabbing your foot. If you think about what we're actually doing, it's not something that's not achievable. It's actually quite a natural range of motion. This is incredibly normal, and this is something, if it's not accessible for you right now, that's something you know now that you have to work towards, because this is something that is 100% beginner, 100% should be accessible to you. Lifting up and down 100 times, concentration, the balance, that will come with time, but in order to gain here, you have to be able to make sure you've got that mobility so that you can employ that for the rest of your life.
And that's one of the great strengths of yoga. You see someone doing this standing head to knee pose in your very first class and you think, that's impossible. I'll never do that. And yoga simply proves that anything is possible. Through your effort, through your daily commitment, you can do standing head to knee no problem in time. In time. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. So there's only really one rule in standing head to knee. Eva will demonstrate.
Okay.
So when you're, please kick to the side. So when you're kicking, I see a lot of students bending their elbows down too early. You have to find a solid foundation. Like any house, any building is built upon a strong foundation. So once both knees lock, then, only then, bend your elbows down towards the floor. Elbows touching the calf muscle, eventually elbows below the calf muscle. Once both knees are locked, you're stable, you're strong, you're confident. If you ever climb the mountain, climbing up to the top of the mountain and climbing down from the mountain are both very important. But the top of the mountain in standing head to knee pose is right there, standing on both legs or having both legs locked. This is the top of the mountain. Right here, this is the top of the mountain. Because if you have both knees locked, going all the way down and touching exactly forehead onto your knee is not that big of a deal. But as you saw, I fell out because I'm going down that mountain very quickly as well. You have to take your time. You have to slow it down. So the last couple things I want to demonstrate with standing head to knees poses when you're kicking, you're falling, you're going to fall out a lot. If you're falling out to the side, what does that mean? You have to push your big toe down into the floor more. If you're picking up your foot and you're kicking forward and you're falling backwards, what does that mean? You have to kick more forward. You have to kick your heel forward more. So ideally, if you fall, and remember I said at the beginning of this posture lab, is you're going to fall out a lot. So as you kick, you're bringing your heel forward, toes back, and if you fall forward, and that's good. Every once in a while, you can challenge yourself by doing this. And let go of your foot. See if it stays there. If it stays there, then you're using your muscles the way that it's supposed to. If it's not there, then guess what? You're still trying. You're still going to get there.
So a little bit just showing from the side what Adam was talking about. So if you grab your foot here and you kick your leg out, we often see a lot of leaning back into the hips. So you can see that my hips are no longer stacked over my knee, and this is actually so much harder. So if you feel like, oh my God, shaking everywhere, zero balance, it's because there's no stability in the leg. There's no stability in your leg that's meant to hold you up. Your hip isn't working with the knee, isn't working with the ankle. So you see how far my hip was back, and that's when you're gonna go back. So you're gonna see that difference with the difference when you keep your hips stacked over the heel. You kick your heel forward like Adam was showing, you're kicking your heel forward towards the mirror, everything stacked so elbow goes down towards the floor. Always momentum forward.
So this posture is all about confidence, no doubt, and no insecurities, or the moment you start wandering, thinking about something else, you're going to fall. You have to be in this posture for 45 to 1 minute. It's not a long time. 45 seconds, 1 minute is not a long time. How long do we scroll on Instagram? How long do we spend time on Facebook? How long do we sit down and watch a movie? It's not that long, 1 minute if you think about it. But one of the key things to do is if you ever fall out, get back in. Promise yourself when you're looking at yourself in the mirror to get back in. If you fall and you simply stand there You've already given up. And one of the greatest things in this classroom is to teach you never to give up. So no matter, all of us, I don't want to pick up my foot. I want to take it time. I want to take it easy. But as soon as a teacher tells me to pick up my foot, I pick up my foot. You let go of the past. You pick up your foot and you try again. You're turning the other cheek. Turning the other cheek. Someone once told us to do this. Turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. But it's harder to apply it in theory than it is to practice it. Here, practice it. Turn the other cheek. Pick up your foot and try again. Let it go. Don't even think about it. You take a deep breath and you pick up your foot and you always try again. So the last thing we'll talk about is a little bit of the energetics of this posture. This is kind of as I mentioned. Let go of the past. Whenever you fall out, whatever's happened in the past, let it go and start fresh again. You take a deep breath and you try to come back in. Don't try to come back in quickly when you fall out and then you're trying to rush it to get back in. No. Reset. Take your time, take a deep breath, shift your weight, grab your foot, come down and start the right way. If all of a sudden the teacher says change and you're like right here, it's like, that's fantastic. You tried. You gave an honest effort to go back into the posture just the way that you started it. So once again, like I was saying, there's no hesitation. You pick up your foot, you do the best you can, and that's going to help you release negative thinking, releasing mental blocks and past habits. Because in the end, everything's a habit. If you think about it for 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, it's also a habit and something else you do in life. If you give up on yourself and pick up your foot and standing head to knee, you've also given up on other dreams and other goals in your life. So once again, the end destination is to never, ever give up. If you never give up, you can restart as many times as you can. You can reanalyze as many times as you want, but trust me, learn to never give up and you'll get there.
That's standing head to knee for you today. Super awesome posture. Doing so much body, mind, spirit all in one, because like we say often, you can't have one without the other. So this one is really embracing all three aspects. So you've got to be present physically, mentally, emotionally, and like Bengal tiger strength, English bulldog determination. You kick, you touch your forehead to the knee, whether that takes you 1 month, 10 years. It's a goal you keep achieving for yourself, for your life. Thanks for the demo, Adam, and see you next time.